sky's not blue.
Welcome back to the Cult House Podcast. I'm your host, the scholar of spite and the Saturday Night Delight, Roger Riddell. Joining me today, they are the vocalist and guitarist for UK mathcore trio Pupil Slicer, Kate Davies. How are you doing today, Kate?
Yeah, not too bad. How about you?
Doing pretty great. I've been really enjoying the new album, Fleshwork. It's really just like ferocious and like raw and chaotic.
Thanks.
And yeah, it I liked Blossom a lot, but like this is like another. I feel like each one of your all's albums is just like another step up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try our best.
Yeah, and, I know I had Josh on a few years ago for Blossom, and yeah, I guess the one thing that that I'd mentioned to him offhand is how much I like your all's band name too, because it is like there's no sort of like guessing what a band called Pupil Slicer is gonna sound like. You know it's gonna be like visceral, you know. How did the name come about though?
I just thought it was a funny name.
Yeah.
There was me and our original vocalist who I started the band with, because me, Josh, and him were in another like post black metal band, and we just send each other funny band names we'd think up, and that was one of them. We were like, that was too funny not to. Uh, make a band around, and it got us shows like having a funny band name like that. Um, and yeah, it's and then obviously afterwards we you can retrospectively be like, oh yeah, it's a reference to Luis Brunel and Salvador Dali's Un Chien Andalou, but that's if you want to sound more smart than you are.
Yeah, I mean it's just one of those names where like it catches your attention as soon as you see it.
Yeah.
And speaking of like the start of the band, one other thing that like Josh had mentioned to me that I wanted to get your take on from like a few years ago was when you joined the band, he had said that uh, they had put out like this ad that was looking for a guitarist, and it was in like some sort of like goofy language that was like, "We bequeath you to join as our guitarist" or something like that. Like, what are your memories of that?
Oh, I can't remember the original ad. That was yeah, for that post black metal band. And oh, it's like a decade ago now. I can't really remember the exact thing, but I do remember um getting that, seeing that thing again. They were like, "Oh, we're practicing right now on the opposite side of London for like the next 3 hours if you want to come down." It was like an hour away from where I was, and I was like, "Yeah, all right." And I just hopped on the tube and traveled across London, met them at that practice. Um, and yeah, they've gone ever since. And then me and the bassist from that band who became our original singer, he had a couple grindcore riffs. And we came up with the name, and we were like, "Oh, we probably need a drummer for this. Let's just use the drummer from the other band we're in." And then Josh came over, and then originally we needed a bassist, so we got on the guitarist from that band to play bass for a bit. Um, our original bassist. So it was quite funny. It just ended up being the same band with different members. Uh, because we were getting more gigs with Pupil Size except their funny name.
And one thing that's always kind of stuck out to me about the band's music too is that you can hear all these different influences in it, but you never have the sense that you all like there's some bands where you hear them and you're like, oh, they're trying to be like a new version of this band. But with you all, it's like, oh, I hear all of these different influences melded in here, and I can't say that they're trying to be any specific band in particular. Like they just sound like themselves.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of things we're drawing influence from, we're always trying to sort of see what we can do. We're always getting, it sort of depends on what we're really into at the time and also how the songs come out. I think like there is like specific subsets of bands we're really into. We're all really into Converge, Dillinger Escape Plan, Deafheaven, Oathbreaker, um, Nine Inch Nails, and Nails, Pig Destroyer, sort of Nasum, like all over the shop, and it all sort of comes together. And there's little sprinkles of everything in there, whether it's like intentionally paying homage to those or just like subconsciously taking influence and writing something that sort of sounds like those bands. But it's also quite hard to, when you write a riff, it's hard to listen to, unless it's exactly like another band. I always find it hard to listen to a riff back and be like, oh, it sounds like this band. And then we get other people saying like all sorts of things. Someone came up to us in the summer and was like, "Do you know the band's Death and Suffocation? You sound just like them." And I'm like, "I don't know if we do, but I'll take the compliment." Because that's cool. And we've had comparisons to everything. We've had people saying we sound like Korn, The Prodigy. Uh, yeah, it's like I don't always see where the comparisons lie, but I think there's a lot in our sound, and maybe people pick up on things from bands they like that end up seeping through that might be similar in ours. But I think because of that, we do have quite a distinctive sound, and I do think on the new record, it's probably the most unique of a sound. That's more just our kind of thing and less obviously trying to be something else, or the influences are a bit more obfuscated on the new album, and it's a bit more uniquely pupil slicer, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I know that I see you guys described a lot as like mathcore, but I think the you all like in actual like practice are just kind of like genre defining because like to your point, like I can hear a little bit of that like industrial Nine Inch Nails kind of thing, but I can hear the Converge in there too, and I can hear the Pig Destroyer, and I can hear the Dillinger.
Yeah, there's I guess mathcore would probably be the thing we draw the most influence from. 'Cause it's probably one of our favorite little subgenres of metal and hardcore. But then like a band like Converge gets labeled mathcore a lot, and it's debatable how many of the songs are mathcore songs and how many are just straight up chaotic hardcore. And there's so much blurring of the lines. Like Converge have mathcore songs in the same way Pupil Slicer have mathcore songs. But I think people sort of lump them in as being a mathcore. Like, because Dillinger Escape Plan have songs that are all in 4/4 and not particularly mathy, but you still call them a mathcore band. So yeah, I find it hard to define us particularly, especially with like because we've got a lot of blackgaze influence, and post black metal stuff in general, um, and post metal influences from like Cult of Luna and Deafheaven and Oathbreaker, and Alcest. And it's interesting those merging with the hardcore influences, the mathcore. I'm not sure if there's a particular name for what we end up doing. Not that I'm trying to say we're doing anything new. I'm just I think it's hard to put one label on it and be because we are so broad within our influences, and we don't typically limit our sound to one thing because we're just writing whatever comes to us. Perhaps if we were better songwriters, we'd come with a stronger vision of what we wanted it to be and actually try and execute one thing. But we're all so scatterbrained and like we like so many things. We try things. We're like, oh, let's do this, and then it ends up being all over the place. And then uh, we have to rein it in a little bit to try and just tie it all together and make it work as a package, which I think I've managed to do across each of the albums. But it can be quite hard to like create a consistent tone throughout an album. I tend to do that more on the lyrical side, and then in um the post-production element with like synths and sort of visual design and stuff, and try and create an atmosphere for an album, even if there's songs that sound like completely different bands on that album.
Yeah. And I do wonder sometimes too, though, if, like as I think as fans in particular, it's easy to get hung up too much on the metal subgenres. Because like I wonder sometimes if the bands themselves are really thinking that much about like, oh, like this isn't for instance like Cradle of Filth, like they're going if they go into the studio, I don't know if they're really like thinking too much about, oh, is this too goth metal or too black metal or whatever. If they're
Yeah,
just thinking, does this sound like what we want it to sound like?
yeah, for sure. I think it's not something we spend a huge amount of time thinking about in particular. So yeah, I would be interested to know what other bands do in terms of. So I don't think anyone really, for at least chatting with friends, I don't think anyone writes a song and tries to be like, I'm going to write a song in this genre. It's more, I've written this song and this is what the vision for this release is going to be. We want to go in this direction and write songs a bit more like this, but it isn't. We're going to make a chaotic hardcore album. We're going to make only a mathcore album, only a shoegaze album, only. I think people are just writing whatever seems cool, and sometimes the vision is let's make songs that are all fast and intense or have this kind of atmosphere to them melodically or rhythmically. Do we want our songs to be more chaotic or more straightforward, more riffy, or more structured? Um, all these different elements. It's more in, I suppose, in those kind of terms from what I've seen. Less, oh, this is gonna. But then again, I don't know. Maybe a thrash band is going. These have to be thrash riffs. So it's not something that's come up for us, but maybe within other subgenres, maybe they are being like, oh, we can't use this. This is a death metal riff, and we're a black metal band. We can't use that. But I
Yeah.
can't tell the difference half the time. I don't know what genres are so nebulous and just sort of a tool for. I suppose the only use is to be a tool for going, oh, I like this band. What is a label that I could put on it to help try and find bands that I may also like if I like this band?
Yeah. Yeah, like I think it mostly just helps like fans find each other and critics describe, what it is that the band sounds like, to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that a lot of the most memorable music, that's been made over the decades has, in a lot of cases, just kind of been on accident because the band was like, oh, this sounds cool, or like you have like with Black Sabbath, Tony Iommi chops two of his fingertips off and then has to downtune his guitars, and oops,
Yeah.
there's metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me about the new album. I know that there's a lot of thematics throughout it regarding the dehumanization and devaluation of marginalized peoples. Um, so what sort of influences went into the writing process for that, and what sort of um, how did that influence, I guess, sort of for lack of a better terms, like the vibe that you wanted to capture on the album?
Yeah, I think the influence sort of emerged from the first two tracks I wrote the lyrics for, which were Heather and Black Scrawl. Um, one sort of being, they're both loosely like quite nerdly. The first one's a sort of retelling of like Silent Hill 3's story. And the second one's like Near, the game Near's story. Um, but then told from like interesting perspectives in those worlds. But then I sort of like was like, oh, I can use this as a metaphor to hone in on like the way people in positions of authority treat those beneath them and use people for as an asset rather than treating them like humans and valuing them as people. And then The second track was sort of about humanity's cycles of destroying itself and perpetuating cruelty and like creating division and sort of forgetting that other people are also human and losing that kind of empathy. And I think between those two songs, I was like, well, there's thematic similarities between them, and that could be quite cool at the moment, I think, given that there's like a lot of cruelty in the world right now. I think there's been an increase in uh like in dissent being sown between communities and people trying to stir up hate. So much of the internet now is based on trying to make people angry and um sort of create these divides between people. I think that became a main theme for the album. Then I sort of wrote from there onwards, sort of going into that kind of realm. And yeah, that's sort of how the theme came together. And then across the album, there's a lot of tracks about systems of cruelty. Like the closing track, Sonote, is sort of about the way the UK's benefit system treats disabled people and the ways that people slip through the cracks of that system. Um, and and there's like research that like at least a couple thousand of people over the last few years have died as a result of like this system being set up that way, and then the media in the UK framing that as a positive thing of well they deserve to not get it because our system found them not worthy of it, so that must be the truth. And then my personal experience is seeing friends who are disabled, uh, just being told there's nothing wrong with you despite having a lifetime worth of medical evidence, of like of like serious conditions, stuff related to like brain damage from brain surgery and stuff like that, and then being told there's nothing wrong with you and we have no medical evidence of it and you achieved all these things that you never achieved. So literally just lying on this and like that idea of people in power can just lie and then they're the ones writing the history books and being like, well, we did the right thing here because if you look at what we did, our assessment found that there was nothing um going on here, so we did the right thing cutting this off. And then, the idea that there are people falling through that system and then passing away, unfortunately, and trying to bring awareness to that kind of stuff. And then, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff in general around cruelty and dehumanization. And I felt like it was given that a lot of stuff these days is a lot less subtle in terms of how it's presenting its ideas. There's a lot of more open talk of people wanting to hurt other people, people thinking other people are lesser than them. Um, I felt like it would be good to have a musical release that is also talking quite directly in the opposite direction, being more empathetic and bringing light to these sort of things going on. So yeah, that was sort of ended up being the tonal through line of the album is these kind of systems and the industry of society and the humanity beneath it.
Yeah, because I think like especially one thing that I've thought about a lot in the last few years is just like I think once a person has over a certain like threshold of wealth, everyone beneath that threshold is just like a number to them. Like they're
Yeah,
they're like a prop when they need like someone who fits a certain category to, sort of present as a pet cause for themselves, but other than that, like those people don't really exist to them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I know you were mentioning like the UK health system and like here in the States, like the healthcare system is just a
Yeah,
nightmare.
yeah,
So yeah, the music videos for the new album really stood out to me too, where like Nomad in particular, I really like all of the close up like shots because I think that really highlights even more like the visceral parts of that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that video came out really well. I think that was probably my favorite of the three. Um, we worked with David Gregory, who did the videos for our last album on this one, and it was sort of like I got together with him, ran through the themes of the album and the kind of things the tracks were about, and then he went away, put together a treatment for three music videos that would explore those themes, but through his kind of he came up with the plot of like there are these clones in a war being fought to fight made to fight each other and then trying to break free of that system as an allegory for the other themes in the album. Um, and yeah, I think all three of them came out really well. And that one in particular, I think is really cool with all the extreme close-ups because that was something on the day he was like, "Yeah, I'll just it'll make a really nice contrast with the cinematic parts, which are all incredibly wide shots of like a big open plain, and then the intense close-ups, and that being the only performance part of the video, and never getting like a wider shot of us. So that was a really cool idea, and it came out really nicely."
Yeah. And on this album, when it came to the use of like clean vocal parts, how did you all approach that? Because like one thing that stuck out to me in particular is like on the song Innocence, the way that the clean vocals in that are used in the mix, it just comes off like really haunting.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the impression. I guess it was kind of like it was a Deftonesy riff, and I wanted Deftonesy vocal processing over it. So it ended up sort of being quite pulled back. But I think that really works. I think it's sort of I've seen a couple people saying they feel like that really enhances the like uneasy aspect of the album's atmosphere, and I think in general, besides like the song White Noise, that was the only one which had like prominent upfront clean vocal parts, and even they are like relatively pulled back compared to what on Blossom, where there was a lot more clean singing stuff. I just it wasn't like a conscious effort to do less of it. It was just whatever I felt the songs required, and I think leaning more into more aggressive, uh, harsh vocals for the most part, and then leaving the clean vocals more haunting and distant, sort of, I think helped convey some of the rage and uncomfortability of the record and the themes it's exploring.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned Silent Hill 3 and I think like that just kind of like sparked me thinking like the best parts of this album kind of remind me of like on Silent Hill 2, the like radio thing when you're near like monsters or whatever and like the static
Yeah,
spikes up, like the feeling that you get from that.
yeah.
Like the parts of this album that feel like the highest sense of like uneasiness kind of give me the same feeling as like hearing that sound in Silent Hill 2, but like in a good way. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of the remake of that game?
I haven't played it.
Oh, it's
I
really
haven't got
good.
around to it. I've heard it's good. I was one of those people who was a big doubter. I didn't think they could do a good job of it, and then I've actually heard that they actually did an all right job. So I definitely need to check it out. And Silent Hill F, now that's out as well. I've got a lot on my. I've just been really busy with the album release. I know I was like waiting all year for like Hades 2 to come out, got really excited, well, a couple years, and that was like my most anticipated release. And then it came out, I bought it, I think I've played it for like 2 hours and then just not had time to put any more time in since. It's just like non-stop band work, and it's one of the sacrifices of I'm looking forward to sort of over the Christmas period. Hopefully things will calm down and then be some time to get some gaming in.
Yeah, that's basically like the same situation Josh was in with Tears of the Kingdom when I talked to him
Yeah.
a few years ago. Yeah, we got on this whole like tangent about the most disappointing like moments that you've ever had playing a game, just like trying really hard to finish everything. And he had mentioned finding all of the Koroks on Breath of the Wild because they just give you this little like golden like Korok trinket.
Yeah,
It's called the Gift of the Koroks.
yeah,
But like I was telling him that mine was on Mario 64 when I was in like fourth grade, finding like all 120 stars, and then all you get is this cannon that shoots you to the top of the castle, and you get to talk to Yoshi, and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna get to ride Yoshi around now. This is cool. But instead, he gives you 100 lives that you don't need anymore because you've already done everything, and then he just jumps off into a waterfall, never to be seen again.
yeah. That's a bit disappointing. I can't really think of. I'm sure there are some. Given the amount of games I've done that in. I mean, some of the best ones, stuff like Red Dead, you get the like sheriff's outfit. I think something like that, and then you don't ever get wanted, and you can just start going around throwing dynamite at everyone in towns, and that's like your reward for finishing everything.
Yeah.
Um, uh, there's definitely some games where it's just been like a bit like, oh, okay, that's finished now. But
It's kind of the
yeah,
curse of being like a completionist though, because like I always want to finish everything, but then I hate when I finish everything and like the reward, you're just like, that's all.
yeah, you finish, especially if you finish the last task and there's nothing. It's
Yeah.
just like you pick something up and the game's the same as every other time you picked that thing up, and it's like, okay, nothing. There is no fanfare. It's just like, okay, I guess I turn it off now.
Yeah. Like I
So
think
yeah,
GTA 5 they give you like a 100% t-shirt or something like that, but then they give you this extra mission where you get to go hunt Bigfoot.
okay. I've never done GTA 5. I've always wanted to get around to 100% 4 because I think it's my favorite GTA.
Oh yeah, I did
Um,
that a few years ago, and that's my favorite GTA too. Like I think it had the best story expansions out of all of them, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm a big GTA 4 fan. I mean, some games that um like Kingdom Hearts 2 is quite a fun one to 100%. That one's sick. I was trying to do Final Fantasy X this year, and it got to the last couple super bosses, and I was like, I'm not spending another 50 hours just grinding levels up to like 99 to like max out everyone's sphere grids so I can like get the defense needed to survive one hit
yeah,
from some of these super bosses. So I did everything else besides like the last super boss, but I was like, yeah, this is not, or like last five or something, but I was like, this is too much time for, I know it's going to be like no reward. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, like Yakuza Zero is the only Yakuza I did, and that was fun. And 100% like Hades one. Um, yeah, there's a lot of fun ones. Like some of them are at their own reward. Like going through Resi 4 on professional is like a treat on its own. It's like the best way to play that game. It's so good. Um, but yeah, there's so there are quite a couple where I've just been like, I don't think I'll be finishing this 100%.
Yeah. I think Resident Evil 4, like it, even if you've like played that game a ton of times, it's still fun to go back through it just because of things like the merchant. Like I
Yeah.
never get sick of just hearing that guy be like, "Welcome."
Well, what are you buying? Thank you. Yeah, me and Josh are always quoting him
Yeah.
to each other.
There was a video on YouTube like a decade ago that it was a guy that was dressed like the merchant and he was just walking up to people in public
Oh, the
and
Mega
doing the whole like,
64
"What are you
one.
buying? What are you selling?"
Yeah. Rocco from Mega 64 did that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, they're still going Mega 64 doing that same stuff as I'm impressed because they're like they've been there since day one on YouTube doing these stupid skits and they're still doing them.
Yeah. Were they the same people that did the skit where Shigeru Miyamoto was walking out of a
Yeah,
building and they drove around in golf carts dressed as Mario and Luigi.
yeah, that was them. They also do the one where they got Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, to like do a skit with them where they're just enacting each Final Fantasy coming out and then saying, "You got to make another one after that. That was the best one yet." And him being like, "I can't be bothered with making any more of these." And then he makes like the next one and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best one." Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah. Out of all the games that you played this year, what would you say are probably like your top five?
I've probably not played five that came out this year. I may have done. I would say Blueprints is definitely like up there. And then I played like an hour of Hades too, so I don't know if I can count that. I'm just looking at my Steam to see if there's anything that came out this year. Uh, I didn't play like, any games that came out this year. I need to get around to like Death Stranding 2. I need to play the first one first. Um, and yeah, yeah, it's hard to have a look. I did 100% Dark Souls 2 this year, apparently. Forgot about that. That was good. I had fun doing that. Um,
Yeah. I haven't checked
uh,
out any of the Souls games yet, but people always speak highly of them.
oh yeah, that like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1 are like both 10 out of 10, like perfect games. I love those games so much. I could play those infinite amount of times.
Yeah, I finally got around this year to playing Ghost of Tsushima because everyone was
Okay.
talking about Yote and ended up 100%ing that and like I just started this past weekend on Yote, so
Okay, cool.
I'm like tied up in that now. But I'm like there's too many games coming out next year that I want to play too though.
Oh yeah. Resi 9. Uh, Routine comes out next month. I'm already hoping that will be good. Been
Yeah.
waiting for like 14 years for that. And I hope it's good after that long. It probably won't be, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, I'm kind of in a similar boat with like GTA 6 where it's just like there's so much hype for it now after like 13 years of waiting. I think at this point it's kind of like the Chinese democracy of video games.
I'm trying not like weirdly enough with every Rockstar game. I remember since like GTA 5 coming out being like not like I always forget how much I like GTA or Red Dead until the next one comes out. So I tend to not get caught up on that. I remember GTA 5 coming out and it being like the day. I remember watching the original trailer and being like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. And then I just forgot about it until like the day it came out. And then I was like, oh yeah, that came out. Oh yeah, GTA 4 is like one of my favorite games ever. I guess I'll buy it. And then I played it and I was like, yeah, so that was quite good.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I was a bit disappointed compared to 4, but I was like, yeah, it was all right. It was good. It was a really good game. And the same with Red Dead coming out and being like, oh yeah, it's a new Rockstar game. I'll play that. And it was great. And then Red Dead 2 came out. I was like, oh, I'm not that interested. And then it came out and it was like the best game I played that year. And so it's like, I'm probably going to take the same approach with GTA 6. It'll come out and I'll be like, oh, cool. And then play it and be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Try not get, well, since MGS5, I've tried not to get overhyped about anything because that stung me too badly.
Yeah. No, I have usually I feel like my expectations are met with most like things that I like that I'm like familiar with. Um and usually it's just like if it's something that I really love, like where, for example, like I'm like a big Spider-Man comic person, and so like
Yeah.
the Spider-Man 2 game came out, and there's like little like parts of the plot where I'm just like, I don't care much for that. It'll be like little like nitpicky things like that.
I was the same with Spider-Man too. I felt like they'd worn out a lot of the novelty of all those game mechanics by the time like Miles Morales finished. And then in Spider-Man 2, I was like expecting a lot more and it was just more of the same. And then so much of it was just like little bits of setup for future titles, and I'm like, do I want to play another game? I know there's gonna be another game, and it will have Carnage and like Green Goblin, but like Spider-Man 2 had Venom and Craven, and like Craven was sick, and Venom was like quite underwhelming in it.
Yeah. That was the part for me that was like the most underwhelming was like that whole third act. It just feels like they crammed like three games into one thing. Like
Yeah,
everything
it
up until
didn't.
Craven ends
Yeah,
is just like it's great until the final like Craven part, and then you're just like, oh, this feels like they just like smushed together that like Web of Shadows game from
yeah,
PS3 with like a couple of unrelated comic storylines, and then made Venom's character be like all about world domination when that's never been his thing.
yeah, yeah. I felt like that. I'm a big Spider-Man fan too.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, my favorites from growing up, and X-Men.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was always a big Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Ben Grimm person.
oh,
So
I've never got the massive like why Ben Grimm's the most popular one because I'm a Mr. Fantastic head. He's like my favorite superhero. So I'm
yeah.
like, but I mean, he is ever lovable.
I mean, my favorite thing about Mr. Fantastic is that he thinks so highly of himself that he named himself Mr. Fantastic.
Well, I really like the way they handle that in the Mark Waid run in like 2003 or 4, where they addressed that directly, and it's like read that run was like decent. I think it's a bit overrated, but I really liked that section where it's him talking to Valeria just after she's been born and saying, "Does Mr. Fantastic really sound like anyone in their sensible mind would name themselves like the Fantastic Four?" And then it recontextualizes the stuff being like his guilt over like taking them on that rocket and getting them mutated and stuff, like making them into celebrities was the only way he saw of stopping them being stigmatized and um, to give them a life where they wouldn't be othered, even though he still feels bad about Ben because Ben's the only one who can't blend into society and stuff. And like the whole idea of that was to build them up to be celebrities so that he could give them a better life than just ruining their lives. And then, well, the way he sees it is he's ruining their life by giving them superpowers. And then obviously all of them are like, no, it's fine, Reed, we don't care. Accidents happen. But yeah, I quite liked the way that they recontextualized the reason they're called the Fantastic Four and the why he called himself that and like became the spokesperson for them as I guess, an in-universe franchise slash giant of New York.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that context too is why everyone loves Ben Grimm the most, just because he's like the one who ended up like he can't disguise what he became.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he um I think one of the best things about him is that, while there is the surface level thing of him being upset about his appearance sometimes and wishing he could be a person at the end of the day, like a normal looking human, at the end of the day, he would rather be able to help people and continue to help people than go to that because the times when he's been returned to a human, he always ends up making the sacrifice of I'll go back to not being able to live a normal life so that I can help other people. And I think that's like he's got a heart of gold in that context, which is really cool.
Yeah. If you haven't read like the current run yet, like I definitely highly recommend that one, the one that
Oh,
Ryan
cool.
North has been writing.
Oh, I haven't
It's
read that
it's
one.
very sci-fi.
Oh, sick. Yeah,
Like
I'll
it,
check
it's
that out.
it really balances the sci-fi and the like family drama elements well, but it's pretty much always within the context of being like a sci-fi comic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading the I can't remember the publisher, but the new Energon universe stuff. It's really cool. The Transformers and Void Rivals stuff that's written by the guy who did Invincible. and Walking Dead. Um, and that's been like some of the best stuff I've read in a while. And then the new um, Matt Fraction Batman and Absolute Batman's been quite good. Um, and I don't read a lot of newer comics just because I've got so many older ones to catch up on. Like I got through all of X-Men and I'm now past reading from the start and past Dark Phoenix Saga in X-Men, and I'm like, oh, when everyone like is like talking about how Claremont's amazing, he really is like really good. And then I recently finished all of Frank Miller's Daredevil issues and year one Batman Frank Miller. And I read every appearance of Kang up until Kang Dynasty and like the Young Avengers stuff. I love Young Avengers. I think they're sick. I think everyone like talks about how you go into it being like, why would I care about these people? And then you read it and you're like, oh, it's sick. That's why it's just really well written, um, and stuff. So I love that sort of uh early Bendis stuff of like when Bendis was doing Daredevil, Alias, and then Pulse and New Avengers. That stuff's so sick. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I like Bendis, but I think like there's a point where he hits on a lot of his like team books where you feel like everyone is speaking in Bendis's voice.
yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
do. He does have a bit of a. I do think his earlier stuff with Daredevil and Alias is definitely his best work, where it's like more, uh, more focused, I suppose. And then the characters are given more unique of a voice. There is definitely sort of a sameness to his dialogue, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been kind of doing a similar thing with the X-Men where I've read up through the Mutant Massacre before,
oh, okay.
but I've got all the omnibuses now from like the very beginning up through I think right after Onslaught. And
Okay.
so I've been going back and rereading all the early stuff so that I can read straight through all the way up to like just after Onslaught.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, but it's
That's a
like
good collection.
30 years of books.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to do this. It's hard getting a hold of a lot of those omnibuses. They're
Mhm.
definitely quite pricey. I mean, I the other week managed to get the first Fantastic Four one for like £50, which is like a steal, given that it usually goes like over 100 online. Because I had like slight water damage on like the slip cover. Um, so the book's in perfect condition. I was like, that's it. Even though I've read all of those comics, but I'm like, I've got them ready for when I want to come back. Because yeah, I love that
Usually,
Lee and
like I'll
Kirby
try to get
era.
on like eBay and like there will be some small businesses where it's people that buy things like that in bulk and then sell them
Okay,
pretty much like close to cost. So I don't know if there's anyone that's doing like that in the UK, but like that's always worth looking
so
into.
eBay is the secret tech for getting the Omnis.
Yeah, and then there's also a site over here called cheapgraphicnovels.com. And I don't know if
Mm.
they ship to the UK, but like usually I can find stuff there marked down like 40 to 50% or more off of what the
Oh,
cover price
that is
is.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to Pupil Slicer. With touring, I know that you all have a UK tour that starts on the 25th. What are you looking forward to with that?
I think it'd be really cool playing the new tracks to people now that the album is out and also getting people's feedback about that stuff in person. Because yeah, it's all cool reading stuff online, but it's different when someone comes up to you. It's like you can have a conversation about the stuff and see what people are thinking, how they're feeling on it, what tracks they're enjoying, and which tracks are working well live. Which tracks people are learning the words to. And that stuff's always cool. And it seems to be selling really well. at last check, there's like 300 tickets in London for the Underworld, so that's going to be packed. Um, and one of the venues in Nottingham I know is really small. And there's already 120 tickets there, and I'm like, that's going to be unbearable in there. I mean, it's not going to be cold, which is good. But that's a lot of people to fit in that room because we've played that room before, and I think it's way overbuild of what its capacity should be for how many people you can actually sensibly fit in that venue. So that would be good. And then Bristol's almost sold out as well, so it's looking pretty nice. They're really looking forward to that. Um, yeah, just looking forward. I think it'll be a great tour. My only issue is it's a bit short because it's like 6 days, and then like by 4 or 5 days into a tour, you're really in the rhythm of it and like super enjoying it, and then like the next like week after that is like glorious, and it's like the tour's ending after 6 days, and then it'll be like, oh, just getting into the swing of it and like really feeling it and like really giving like amazing performances, you know. Uh, that's how long the tour is, so.
Yeah. Do you know if y'all are going to get to do any touring stateside anytime soon?
Um, we're not getting any on the cards at the moment. We've had a couple uh like offers come through, but nothing's ever like solidified into something. I guess the issue for us is I don't think I'm allowed in the country. Because I'm trans, I think they've now banned people coming into the country if you are trans. And I don't think we can risk like buying visas, spending thousands of pounds on that, and then getting turned away at the border. So it's a bit annoying. So not for the next couple years, but hopefully after then we'll find something that works out for us to make it work financially.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had you for about 45, 50 minutes now. I don't want to take up your whole afternoon, or I guess it's evening for you, but is there anything else that you want the fans to know about?
I guess you can check out our stuff at pupilsizer.com, and we've got merch, and we've got stores in the US, Australia, UK, and Germany to order from, so you'd have to pay massive shipping. And yeah, I hope to see people at shows. If not this UK tour, we should have some Europe dates coming up, and then hopefully we'll be stateside before too long. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for taking the time today.